This video is brought to you with the help of my patrons. Hi guys, it's Maria. Recently, I've been asked a lot the same questions and I thought why not answer them in a video. So these are the most asked ones. The first question is from Krista Wolfx. Do you use regular glue on eyelashes for your dolls? I am using white glue. I like it the most because it's easier to apply, it dries strong and clear, and it allows me more time to position the lashes. In case you want to make a new face up or clean it up for any reason like chipping, it isn't difficult to remove and it is safe for the vinyl. This one is from Erica Wolfie. What sort of glue did you use to put on the wefts? I have similar wefts, but they aren't sticking with the white glue. Thanks Erica for the nice comment. I actually haven't noticed that I didn't mention it in my videos before. I'm using a clear permanent crafts glue. I also tried white glue on my first wig, which is on the Fairy Tale Wisp. I tested it and it indeed just didn't grab the wefts directly, and it was a big problem for me. I would position one side of a weft and when I tried to attach the other it would just go off. I wanted them to have a good distance so that their base isn't visible after styling the wig. It was very uncomfortable and messy, so white glue just didn't work for me. This one is from Nikki Jenkins. What type of hair did you use? Thanks Nikki for the sweet words. I use alpaca or sometimes synthetic fiber. I personally lean towards fibers that I can color. It gives me more freedom to customize. There is of course difference between these fibers. I find synthetic hair is slightly more difficult to style in certain ways because it isn't as soft as natural fibers. On the other hand, natural fibers can't hold for long curls like synthetic hair would, but you can extend that with hair fixing products. They both have their pros and cons. I would love to try brushed yarn. I see in Mosequito's videos that they keep really nice to styling. This question is from Rob Martin. How long do you let your MSC dry between coats? Because I let mine dry an hour, but my watercolor pencils break right through all of my coats. I started using mostly Vallejo Premium Matte and I always leave the first and last heavy layers to dry for around 24 hours. The middle coats are thinner and should dry fast. I wait 1 to 2 hours, but it can take more because overall the drying time is connected to the weather and room conditions. I find it best in low humidity and somewhere around 25 degrees Celsius or 77 Fahrenheit. I would assume Mr. Super Clear would work the same, but if you have specific instructions on the can, I would follow that. You will also have to follow the stirring instructions. What I understand is if not followed, the sealant might get shiny or the bond might be not as strong. And if there is any oily residue on the face, even if it's not visible, the sealant won't grab good and this can create chipping. This is from James Bissett. What pencils do you use for your repaint? I am using Watercolour Pastel pencils. There really is one basic rule to follow with customizing. The materials have to be safe for the doll. For example, if you would use oil-based materials, they can eventually eat through the plastic. When I'm not sure, I always test on a doll or search around the internet for information. This question is from Ida Vistrom. How do you not squish the clay when putting them together? I do pre-baking before adding any measure parts, so I don't ruin the whole thing, and I use liquid clay to connect the pieces. If I work with epoxy, I'm just waiting it to cure before mixing more. This is from Rixeni Games. Do you think about making your own dolls and selling them? Thank you so much for the lovely words, Rixani. Yes, I have been thinking about it, but at this point it isn't possible financially, unfortunately. I will be starting from scratch, which would take a lot of materials just to start and a lot of time. This would mean I have to stop making videos, which is financially difficult anyways at the moment. I would love to someday, but right now it just isn't possible. This question is from Ivan. What kind of compressor do you use? Thank you for the nice words. I was using a very cheap one, but it quickly started to give me problems. A lot of times I had to start over face up. If I could call it, it made me practice, but trust me, at some point it just wasn't fun. It was just dropping pressure constantly, and it recently gave up completely. Thanks to my patrons, I managed to save up and got a Sparmax, which made things so much easier. I would advise on a lot of researching before buying anything. And very importantly, keep in mind how much PSI you need for your work. A question from Tovan Appel. How do you come up with your ideas for your dolls? Well, it just comes to me and it starts taking shape. Sometimes I get suggestions from you guys, and it will also help me to get an idea of a custom. When I get a creative block, I just do something else, even things that aren't connected to dolls, just to refresh my mind. This is from Bubblegum Timber. How did you learn to style hair? Thank you! I found it always interesting, and I watched a lot of tutorials and looked for information on the internet. I started with slightly trimming hair on dolls that had strands of hair standing out, and when I got more confident I did more. I still have more to learn, but I love it. This question is from Ezra AZ. What is the best waterproof glue for when I want to wash and shampoo a wig I've made? I use something called liquid stitch, but whenever I shampoo and condition the wig, the glue gets soft and bits of hair come out. This sounds scary. If the cap is fixed with white glue, I don't recommend washing it or completely submerging it. It will damage the wig. I have washed once Sissy's hair, but only from the hair and still the middle, not getting near the cap and roots, and I'm yet to try with waterproof glue. If you try washing, I recommend drying on a wig stand or another doll that is protected with sticky foil. Never put the wig on the doll if the hair is still wet. If it's dyed, it will stain it. Comb the hair only when it is completely dry. A bit of shedding can occur, which is completely normal, but just be careful. You can wash with mild shampoo and use conditioner. I really hope this helps. Kai Dickens asked, I was wondering where you happen to get your drill and drill bits. Thank you for the kind words. I am using a Proxen micromod system. I picked it up at a local hardware store. I was looking for something that isn't heavy and bulky, so that it's easy to work on modifying very small areas with having a good precision. I got it in a set with basic bits and cutting attachments. So far it has been working great. Before buying this one, I tried using a cheaper electric file, but it was just very bad for precision work. The turning of the bits was off, which is very bad for working on small areas. It was instantly visible and it also broke down after a month of use. The bits were also too big for some areas of the doll, for example sanding the lips. Before buying anything, I recommend to check if it fits your needs. For me it was best to check in person instead of buying online, because I just wasn't sure and I didn't want to make a wrong decision and then having to return it. I want to say thank you to my patrons for supporting me. With the monetizations happening, it has been very difficult. Thank you guys! Well, this is it for this video, guys. I hope my answers were helpful. If you have more questions, don't be afraid to ask. Subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Also share with friends, it helps me a lot. And don't forget to tap on your notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye!